Dun-na.
Dun-na. Can you guess what this episode's about, guys?
It's recording, isn't
We're,
it?
yeah,
Oh,
it
shit,
is.
I didn't realize. Yep.
All right.
We watched
We're
Star Wars for the first time.
The
actually.
John Williams classic Star Wars.
Yeah. No,
Temple of Doom.
Actually,
We watched the greatest shark movie of all time, Sharknado 4.
Sharknado 4, The Sharkening.
so I've never seen. We watched Jaws. Never seen it all the way through.
Okay.
Me either.
I'm 29 years old, so somehow like I've tried watching it when I was like 13.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, hell yeah, badass shark. And then I'd watch it and I'd be like, this is like a bunch of like sailors talking about like...
A shark.
Yeah, on a beach. Okay,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, watching this time around, way different, way cooler.
I mean, it's still a movie about a bunch of sailors talking about a shark.
Right.
Nothing's
It's like-
changed there.
But they actually get the shark.
I feel like the movie's in two halves, where like the second half is all of them, like the three of them on this at sea, like taking care of the shark and
Yeah,
stuff.
that was like half
That's
the
like
movie.
a lot of the movie. And then the
Yeah, they
first
were.
half,
Yeah.
It's them kind of.
I never really thought about how much time they actually spent hunting the shark instead of, obviously the first, 30 minutes of the movie.
It's almost like two different movies because the first movie is almost about the mayor and having to deal with like the mayor kind of like.
And how he's the
Fucking
antagonist.
things
He's the
up.
real
Yeah,
antagonist
he's
of the
enemy,
story.
it's not Jaws,
Yeah,
dude.
exactly.
It's the fucking it's the mayor who's the real bad guy in this.
The shark is being a shark.
Yeah, the shark's just a
with the
machine.
mayor's just being a dumbass,
Right.
He's like, we need this money. We're a small, seaside town.
We're a beach town.
We're a beach town.
We're a summer beach town.
We need beach money from other people.
Beach money, beaches.
It's the 4th of July. We have to be open.
Or what does he say? Like, you yell barracuda. People go, what? You yell shark. You got a panic on your hand.
Yeah,
I was like,
didn't
what the
understand
fuck?
what that meant, but like,
Why did we
Yeah.
give him Southern
I don't know where I went with that at the
It's
end.
in Massachusetts.
Yeah. A shock. It was a shock attack. I like how that one guy just goes super heavy into the Boston accent at one point.
Yeah.
Like everyone's talking normally, or at least like a little bit of kind of Eastern Coast accent, and then that dude goes heavy with the Boston accent. I felt like he just said
Well, he's
shock
from New York.
shock attack. Oh yeah, I think he was just making fun of Bostonians,
Right,
right,
yeah.
or whatever. He's just like. He might as well just say a shock attack in Massachusetts where they filmed The Departed. Like he's just basically like think of every word that Bostonians can't fucking say properly, and the dude just repeated it in like 2 sentences. No, that was
Oh,
funny though.
God.
That was funny.
Get the keys or the pot the car.
Yeah, pot the car
Oh.
keys. The Departed.
That's probably one of the ultimate like Massachusetts movies, or I guess New England, like.
Yeah, other than Good Will Hunting and
Yeah,
The
Boston.
Departed,
Right. But I feel like
National Treasure.
yeah, The Departed it really embodies like Boston, whereas I
Oh,
feel
wait,
like
that's
Jaws
Pennsylvania.
really embodies like just the sort of like New England like Bay.
Yeah, I really thought it was, like-
Nantucket, Cape Cod.
Yeah,
Martha's Vineyard.
it really seems like it could take place anywhere on the East Coast, really. If it's
Yeah.
fucking like Rhode Island or
Yeah, for
whatever,
sure.
New Hampshire.
Definitely New England,
Yeah,
though.
just that
New
New
England,
England
like
area.
coastal town.
Yeah.
I would have thought Maine. Like
Right, Maine, yeah, for sure.
that would have been
Yeah.
like my immediate.
Oh, okay,
thought,
yeah,
Immediate thought.
yeah, I can see that for sure.
And the setting is one of the coolest parts about the movie, I thought. I really
The
appreciate
setting of
It's
it?
very
Yeah, it was.
cozy.
Yeah, you
Just like,
said
oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
just
really
it's like a small
cozy
like
area.
oceanside town or a small island
Mm-hmm.
town, whatever.
The time of day that they shot during a lot of the scenes was like during nighttime when there's not a lot of light out, and it made it like really ominous
Mm.
and like I don't know. The lighting in this movie is really nice. I
Yeah,
thought, like-
some of the sunset and sunrise shots were really great. I was like, wow, that's sick. Like, it was just, they obviously couldn't plan for that, but they're like, dang, the sunset right here with the clouds and kind of like orangish hue. Like, obviously, we can't miss out on that. But I don't know, man. I saw this movie. I've only seen this movie twice, and the first time I watched it, I think I was already probably in my early 20s. And, at that point, it's pretty... I don't want to say it's outdated, obviously, but it's pretty dated, man. I mean, it came out in, 75, I
Yeah.
think we saw? So, 85,
Yeah.
95, 05. Like, I saw it basically almost, 40 years after it came out. Yeah, 40-something years after it came out. and I just thought it seems like it holds up really well. Like, horror is probably my least favorite genre, but I mean, to think about watching that movie when it came out, right? Or I mean, obviously there was already horror movies before that, but it's such a not ridiculous concept for a horror movie, right? Because most horror movies at that point, I think it's, you know, whatever, an alien's involved, demons involved, or some kind of monsters involved. Where this is an actual sea creature that we're all very aware of, and we kind of thought of as predators. Obviously, you know, this movie apparently got quite a bit wrong about how sharks operate, but it also did get certain things right, where like the whole, they attack in the first 10 feet of water or whatever from the beach.
Yeah, so like sharks don't eat ships.
They don't just ram into ships or whatever. Yeah.
Like, maybe they do. I don't know. Like, I haven't heard this, but I can totally believe that a lot of the stuff in the movie was. Like,
well, that's why. But I have like the second kid that got eaten when he's like on that weird like little floaty thing. I feel like I've heard so many marine biologists or whatever, you know, people who know about sharks. They always say, yeah, the reasons why they go out there, those people typically, or attack like canoes and small boats, is because from the water down, or from below, it looks more like a seal or whatever, which is something that they like snack on a lot. Obviously, it depends on what part of the fucking ocean where the seals are at or whatever, but that imitates, like a seal's actions more than anything. And so when I saw that little kid go out into the water, I was like, yeah, he's definitely going to be the one that's going to get snacked on more likely than anyone.
Do you think this film put a lot of like fear?
Is it a film?
Into sharks.
Quentin Tarantino already called it a movie.
Yeah, okay? he made it very clear that it's the greatest movie ever made, but it is not a film.
It's not a movie. It's not a film. It's a blockbuster.
It is
it's
a
like,
blockbuster.
You know, Jurassic Parks.
Yep.
Anything made by Steven Spielberg, really. Blockbuster.
But, it's true. I mean, I wouldn't say anything, but most things for sure.
Honestly, I wouldn't call it a perfect movie. Like, I'd say there was some parts near the second half where like they're out at sea, like trying to get Jaws or whatever. That I feel like they could have cut like 4 or 5 minutes out of there or something. Like it's like, then he leaves and he comes back again with the barrels, and then he leaves and he comes back to fuck him up. It's like,
yeah, for sure.
I feel like there is room.
It's about 2:10. Yeah, but I think the thing is, like, if it wasn't for the whole like leaving and coming back, I think it would have been a little too convenient. Not convenient, but just to have one great battle instead of this kind of prolonging battle where there's like highs and lows of it. I kind of like that more, that it kind of dragged on instead of just having one good 30-minute fight scene or whatever, or like conflict, and it really went over like a day or two or whatever.
Yeah, probably. They didn't know what day it was.
Yeah, I mean, we saw like the sunset and sunrise a couple times, so I don't know. I like it more that it was more of a longer struggle than it was just like one epic face off. But I don't know, man. I think it really is a good horror movie. I mean, you know, the sound of that cello, the dun. I mean, Jaws is one of the most iconic movies ever for a reason, right?
Would you what would you say was like the most horrifying part, like in the horror department of it? Because I'd say there's a scene where like I think like the lights turn off. It's like nighttime. They're on the ship. Yeah, it's kind of sinking because it's like leaking water. And like
it's when he first starts ramming into first ramming
the
into the
lights
boat.
Turn off and it's like total darkness. Like that is a total like horror. Like that's when I was like, I can see why people.
Yeah, that part was pretty freaky because I really thought when he was first ramming into the boat that he wasn't gonna stop. Right, that he was literally. I don't know how Jaws would know this, but he's like, if I keep ramming into this fucking boat, it's gonna sink or whatever, right? So the first time I watched it, I definitely didn't think that he was gonna give up ramming at that moment. I just thought he was gonna keep doing it until he sees things fall into the water. But that was pretty freaky, man. Honestly,
yeah.
I think. I mean, the part that always catches me off guard, and sometimes because I forget it happens, it is. I don't want to say it's cheap, but most jump scares are cheap. But when they're like looking at that capsized boat or whatever, and he gets into the water and he does his little investigative work, and then you see the dude's head just come into the hole of the side of the ship. I think that's exactly how you do like a classic, like a good take on jump scares, because most jump scares are pretty cheap, but I thought that one was actually very well executed. So that part always freaks me out. Like, it's a nice little, I was like, oh, damn. Like, okay.
Yeah, and I didn't feel, I don't remember there being like a big like music hit where it's like, oh shit, like, here's the jump scare.
Yeah, I think it was like, if I remember, it was
subtle.
pretty, it's pretty quiet, like, at that moment. And then he's just kind of like, oh, here's like the shark tooth or whatever. And then he like, looks back up and fucking head comes into frame and he freaks out, drops everything and whatever. I love that. And then, but I think the scene that really got to me, that I thought, like, holy shit, was obviously when he gets in the cage and he turns around. It's not so much the initial him ramming his face into the cage, but once like the camera goes back to the cage and you see how much of a hole it made in just that one hit, you're like, holy shit. I thought that really got to me, where I didn't realize, like, oh, damn, he did that in one hit. So 1 or 2 more hits, and he's going to bust that thing wide open. And then, I don't know, man, that shit really got to me. I was like, that's fucking crazy. And the balls on that fucking character to, you know, because he didn't immediately go through the emergency hatch. He stayed in there, lifted his legs up, and just started, like, stabbing the shit out of it in its fucking face, man. He's like, you know what? I dropped the poison fucking stick. There's no way I can't just leave, you know? I gotta do something. And he's just like, da, 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 da.
Dude, something that makes Jaws such a great, like, horror villain, for lack of a better term, is the fact that it's kind of, like, indestructible. Like, the way that, you know, you're Jason from
Friday the 13th. Yeah.
Like, unkillable. It's like, no matter what you fucking do to this thing, like, that'll take down a normal person. You can shoot it, like, as much as you want. It's just not gonna die. But it's, like, played off, like, realistically, like...
Yeah.
I mean, you could imagine like a giant shark like that just wouldn't like a
he's really not going down. Yeah, that was something that like again with like the prolonging battle that kind of helped was at one point you kind of like, yo, what is it gonna take to kill this fucking thing? You know, man, they've stabbed it repeatedly, shot it repeatedly, and it's just not going down, dude. He's just gonna keep coming back. And even the guys are like, oh, you're really gonna pierce the skin with that itty bitty needle, and that needle was still like, I don't know, 5 inches long probably, and he's like, yeah, no, it's not gonna work or whatever. But the whole thing about being indestructible, yeah, man, you really think like, can this thing even be, at one point you're like, can this thing be fucking killed by normal means, you know?
I thought they're gonna like explode it like TNT or some shit.
Honestly. Yeah, well that one guy in the beginning had that idea. He's like, what are you doing with that? He's like, I'm going fishing or whatever the fuck he says. He's like, put that away. I love it, man. I really thought
the sailor is a fucking great character. I thought.
Oh,
he really makes the movie pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't understand half of what he was saying, but that kind of added to the to the character, you know.
Like a slight Scottish accent.
People in the water, shark in the water. You know. Not all boys come out or whatever. I'm telling you, man, that dude either really went method and went to go become a fisherman for like 6 months or something, or they just picked up that dude to be a fisherman. He's like, we need you in our movie. Just be yourself, basically.
Right.
Like, here's a loose structure of the script.
I feel like he goes kind of crazy at the end. Do you guys notice that? Like the sailor, he just kind of goes nuts. He destroys the radio.
Yeah, which I still don't understand why he did that.
Is that just like normal sailor behavior? Do they just do wacky stuff like that, or like was he going crazy? Like
I was thinking about that too, and I don't know if I was just trying to come up with an answer, but I was kind of thinking that the reason why he did that is, well, obviously he spends more time in the ocean than any of them, so he either A, knows that they're not going to be able to actually contact the Coast Guard, but he knows that the chief of police, like, he's not going to let it go. Like, he's going to keep, mayday. So he's like, oh my God. So instead of knocking him out, obviously he can't do that. He's like, I'm going to just take out the machine. Or then B, maybe he was really concerned about the money, because he's like, obviously the Coast Guard gets it. I don't get the $10,000 and the 2 cases of brandy.
Yeah, maybe I would have sabotaged the whole fucking, like, expedition.
Yeah.
Called it in. So.
Yeah.
But then he also does something else fucked up. Like, he, like, what's he do again at the end of it? Kind of sabotages him.
I don't know. Like sabotage. Well, at first he tells him. I don't know what he thought with the whole like tying it to the back or whatever. Like maybe he really just underestimated that the shark was gonna be able to fucking pull the whole boat in, but that was kind of hoeing them a little bit. And then obviously he came to terms. He's like, okay, no, we need to cut loose, or this fucking thing is literally gonna drag the boat down into the ocean. I mean, obviously the dude's crazy, and you know what's cool? Like the great thing about his little monologue about the USS Indianapolis. I think that kind of shows where his like trauma first began, right? Mm-hmm. It's like he's like saw so many people die in the flash of an eye, and then he saw his like crewmates or whatever start getting picked off slowly. And yeah, I think like that little bit of backstory did a lot for his character. Like it really explains why he is the way he is, and why like the entire time, like we saw him like wanting to. He kept talking about that he's gonna hunt the shark alone. And at first we thought it was for selfish purposes, right? Like, oh, it's because he wants the $10,000. But maybe it's because he's seen what happens when he's with other people, you know? Like, maybe he didn't want to lose more people. Yeah, that could be me reading more into it.
No, but when he gave that little monologue, which, by the way, I think was probably like one of my favorite parts in the whole movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It really showed like, yeah, I think after that moment, he wanted to like kill every single shark in the world. like that was his mission.
Yeah,
he died doing it. Like,
yeah, that's true. I mean, you saw his like shack or whatever the hell that thing was, man. So many,
like hundreds of shark jaws.
Jaws.
Yeah.
That's why it's called
true.
Jaws.
I didn't even think about that. There's really
that's why it's called Jaws.
They don't ever call the shark Jaws.
Yeah, they never call it anything.
No.
They never.
They just say let's get that great. No, they just say let's get that great white.
Yeah,
let's get that.
Let's get that shark.
That fish.
That's one.
Oh, he's going down. That shark. Nah, yeah, I think it really explains a lot about that character. And then I do love the moment where they're like just drinking or whatever, and it's the middle of the night. And they're just sharing war stories, essentially, like showing their scars and stuff. Like, I
this
love,
scar.
Yeah, this guy and this guy. The original, like, you want to know how I got these scars? Like, that's basically the original version of that scene.
When I saw that scene, I immediately saw the connection or the homage in
Chasing Amy, right?
Yeah, because I knew Kevin Smith was a huge fan of Jaws, so I immediately saw his like homage that he was paying in there.
Yeah, and you said you've seen that he said that Jaws was like one of his.
I've heard him
movies.
say it was one of his top 5.
Oh, okay, yeah. No,
it's like
sense.
One of the perfect, like, if you're showing how to do suspense and like how to thrill people, and also like scare people without showing too much too. Mm-hmm. It's like the perfect, like if you show that in a college course, like the #1 movie, like it's the perfect thriller, suspenseful.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too where what they used to say about horror movies or whatever, especially in the trailers, like you don't show the monster, right? Like that was kind of one of the golden rules. I mean, in the trailers, like you don't show the monster, but this, like, they basically did that for the movie. I mean, if you really recorded like how much screen time the shark got, it's probably not a lot, you know, because we saw more about the damage he caused or was causing, but you never see it that directly. And again, a big part of it was, I told you guys that production was a nightmare. Like that animatronic caused so many problems. It just kept breaking down all the time, and that was probably another reason why those it did work. Probably another reason, like, I never confirmed that those guys didn't really like working together because for whatever reason. And I could see if, you know, production kept getting pushed back and back. It's like, oh, we have to stop filming because the shark's on the fritz again or whatever. So instead of a 2-month shoot or whatever the average time is, it went to like 3-4 months. And then he really started going crazy. You know, he really started going full into the crazy fisherman. But man, it was a great movie. I think it really shows a lot about like how to build suspense without really showing anything, or like the best way to build suspense is to not show anything. You know, sometimes it's just your dun.
Right.
Dun. Yeah, man.
Get the perspective of the shark too.
Yeah.
That's always nice.
He really wanted you to feel for the shark. Like, what is the shark thinking at this moment? Like, is the shark really the bad guy of the story? Because a lot of people, including myself, would argue that it's the mayor.
Would you say that the sailor kind of becomes a bad guy at the end of the movie? Like,
I think you're trying to force this narrative of the sailor being.
Yeah, what do you have against fishermen, Bentley?
I went nuts at the end.
Yeah.
Aside from the radio thing, I don't know what else he did.
There was something else. He I
don't know, man. He was pretty cool, honestly. Like he kept giving the oceanographer, whatever the fuck his title was, a lot of shit. He's like, them city hands. He's just like, you can't do anything with them city hands or whatever. But then he gained his respect, obviously, after their first encounter with the shark.
Yeah, when they were showing the scars to each other, that's when they had that bonding moment.
I was like, dude, the little drunken sea shanty or whatever they were saying, that's a great scene, man. That is fantastic.
Say, when the sailor got eaten by the shark, I didn't feel that bad.
Okay.
I was sort of like, I kind of saw it coming. I'm sorry.
But again, as we know, it was the oceanographer who was supposed to get eaten.
Apparently.
But then, for those who don't know, I mean, we never, I guess, verified this, but we saw a fun fact talking about how the scene where you see that shark just absolutely ripping the shark cage apart. Yeah, that wasn't actually the animatronic. That was a real shark that was attacking the cage while they were shooting. And the guy who swims away, it's a
stunt guy, right?
Yeah, it's a stunt guy, and he's actually swimming away because that was an actual shark attacking the cage. And actually, I can believe it, because if you see the way it was thrashing on the cage, I don't think the animatronic would have been able to replicate that well. Especially because all we've seen the animatronic do at that point so far is just kind of swim up and swim by the side of the boat and stuff. So I can totally believe that was real. And I mean, is there any better luck in cinema than getting a shot like that where you somehow get a real shark to attack your cage and really show how scary these things can fucking be?
Life imitating art, or what is it? Art imitating life?
Art imitates life, right?
Yeah, art would imitate life.
Yeah, because life comes first.
They had to go along with the fact that the cage,
and then they have to rewrite. Yeah, they have to change it because apparently in the book it was the oceanographer who gets killed. Richard Dreyfuss's character, whose name I can't remember right now.
Matt Hart was Matt.
Was it Matt
Hooper?
I know they.
Hooper.
You're right. They called him Hooper. Yeah, they called him Hooper.
Pretty sure it's Matt.
Yeah, and it was the fisherman who was supposed to live, but. Hey, man, if you get a scene like that where you see the shark just completely demolishing your cage, absolutely, take it. Just run with it, man. You were gifted. You were gifted something by Poseidon himself that gave you one of the greatest shots in fucking movies. Yeah, so what is it? Scheider, Shaw, and Hooper, Brody, and Quint. There we go. Hooper, Brody, and Quint. Yeah.
I feel like sharks are probably, if you wanted to make a shark movie, it's probably not that hard because they even talk about it, how sharks have lifeless eyes and stuff. So you just have this gray, rubbery thing and just have it kind of in the water, underneath a little bit. That's probably why there's so many shark Jaws ripoffs. It's because as an amateur horror movie person, you could probably just whip together that prop.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah. I mean, obviously, as time went on, it got easier to probably make, right? Again, we've never heard of an animatronic working in water at this point, right? So it must have been pretty revolutionary for the time. Obviously, now it would just be CGI or whatever, and it'd probably fucking suck.
Yeah, exactly.
But so hopefully they never remake Jaws. They try to remake everything else.
Bro, they will.
I know they will. Yeah.
They haven't.
Surprisingly they haven't. There's a hilarious Robot Chicken sketch about Jaws where it's the 25th anniversary or whatever, and it's released on Blu-ray or something. So watch Jaws completely remastered, and you see it's Steven Spielberg talking about it, and he's just there was just so many things we couldn't do because that freaking animatronic kept giving us problems. But now with the magic of CGI, it's we could make it do whatever we wanted. And then it shows the scene where it jumps in the air like fucking Shamu and does flips in the air and shit. It's funny just the way they like the way they make fun of CGI, and I think the whole thing is like how South Park made fun of Lucas and Spielberg for remastering Star Wars and Indiana Jones. That's basically the same joke with Jaws. I think there was even we even had multiple alternate endings that we could do because of CGI. There was they gave it like robot legs and it starts terrorizing the beach itself and shit like that. But yeah, dude, I mean, in today's world, they would just give it CGI, or make it out of CGI.
They make it CGI, like they probably wouldn't even like film it in like on location like that. They film it like on set.
Yeah, it would definitely be on set. There was one shot that, sorry to interrupt, but there was like one shot in there that I saw it and I was like, okay, all these shots look like they're really out in the ocean filming, but there was one shot where I was like, oh, this just looks like a water tank and a sound stage. But that was the only one that I thought about. The rest of it, I thought they were really just shooting out in the middle of the ocean or whatever.
Like when they're fighting the shark, you felt like they were like out in a...
Yeah, like I thought, like, wow, they're really just out there, you know. But there was one shot. I think it was maybe the first encounter with the shark. I don't know. I should have wrote it down. This is why we do take notes. But this was more of a casual watch. I don't think about taking notes.
Yeah.
But there was one moment where I was like, that kind of looks like a soundstage to me. Like the edge of the screen, I really thought like the water just goes like 2 feet past that. That's just how it looked to me for some reason. But yeah, I mean, honestly, dude, the shots are great. The acting was fantastic. I truly believe that fucking Robert Shaw became a fisherman before that movie. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna Daniel Day-Lewis this bitch and fucking be a real salty fisherman.
I bet Daniel Day-Lewis looks at that performance and was like, damn.
Yeah, he fucking better, honestly. Crazy. Yeah, the original fucking method actor.
Yeah, he was like a Shakespearean actor.
Oh, wow.
He did like Macbeth and Henry VIII, Cymbeline.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, he worked in the West End.
Damn.
He's British.
He was from England. He died in Ireland, so he might actually be Irish.
He had a kind of Scottish accent.
Right? Yeah, something like that. He died 3 years after the movie came out, so he.
Oh shit! Yeah. Okay. Damn, he only died at 51, so he was pretty young.
I just thought he was such a sailor that he had that accent, you know, like.
Yeah.
I'm a sailor accent.
I'm a salty fisherman. But yeah, I think it's safe to say that he definitely gave the best performance of the movie for sure.
Definitely. He was the best part.
Yeah, honestly.
The girl who gets eaten at the beginning did a good job.
Oh, dude, that scream, and then again, like the iconic scream that comes up from that girl on the bridge when Jaws or whatever you want to call it, like the shark starts attacking in the pond or whatever.
And maybe if we could play it right here, right now for the audience.
I wonder if I look it up on YouTube, like iconic scream from Jaws. I wonder if it'll just give me the opening.
You can edit it in anyways.
Well, I mean, yeah, probably. See, this is when we need like the actual Jamie, where he's just like, "I got it, guys," and then he's like googling it.
I got some facts or some little. I don't know what the word I'm thinking of right now.
Jaws Scream Queen recalls role. That's like the first thing that comes up when I...
The Scream Queen? So the girl at the beginning.
I would assume so.
Scream Queen.
But it's like... the video is her... The scream you hear in every movie. The Wilhelm scream, yeah. I don't want to look it up because it's more like a 1.5-minute video of her talking about it than it is like the actual scream. But yeah, man, honestly, great movie, great way to do a horror movie. I think it holds up, honestly.
Do you think he was trying to make a horror movie when he made it, or do you think he was trying to just make something like exciting and suspenseful? Like, do you think that's where Steven Spielberg's mind was? Like, I need to make a horror movie with sharks, or do you think he was just like,
okay,
really like, because it's very similar to this movie he made called Duel,
right? Which
is about a car who, like, he doesn't really know who it is. It's a semi truck who's like following him, and it's just no matter where he goes, the headlights show up behind him and just start following him. So I feel like Jaws is kind of like almost not a remake, but you could tell Steven Spielberg at the time was like really into suspense and thrillers and like the unknown villain, or I guess.
Okay, I gotcha. So I guess we would have to think about like the difference between suspense and horror, right? Where you know, obviously suspense isn't inherently horror, but I mean, the point of a horror movie is to scare people, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't think, obviously, Spielberg wanted people to be scared of the open water or whatever.
Pretty scary.
But I think he wanted you to be scared when you saw that fin come up, you know, or whatever. When you hear the dun, like, which I mean, obviously builds a lot of suspense. But I think it's considered a horror movie, right? It's
listed as a thriller on Wikipedia. I know it's just Wikipedia,
but like it has for sure has horror elements, like no doubt.
Yeah, like, again, you don't see the monster, but
and it has horror elements that like every horror movie now probably like steals from and is inspired by.
I think it
is a horror like in itself.
I think it is more horror than I mean I do think it is more horror than it is thriller, but not saying that it's not thriller because it clearly is. But the whole thing, especially at that point with horror movie, it's you know, like you mentioned earlier, how Jason has this feel of like being indestructible, right? Like Jaws gave us that same feel, and it was kind of like the same thing with Alien. You really thought like there's no way to kill the xenomorph, or you know, Michael Myers, there's no way to kill Michael.
Terminator.
Yeah, exactly. Like you think there's no way of actually taking it down. And I think that's kind of what causes more of the horror. It is like, you know, in this, it's man versus beast, right? But, you know, they really try to make this beast more of a monster than just an animal. Mm-hmm. So I would definitely say it's a horror movie for sure.
It's complicated. Definitely earns a spot in the horror realm because of, like, just all the things it does are just so influential.
Yeah. Oh, but you're right. I guess most things do listed more of a thriller. Like Google, if you look it up, it says thriller/adventure.
What does Snopes say?
Snopes.
Check them.
Oh wow! They're gonna show Jaws in theaters on my birthday. Apparently, August 13th. Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of Spielberg movies, and I mean, there's too many.
That's probably one of the best ones.
Yeah, I mean, I had too many favorites for me to put it in like his top 3, probably, to be honest. But overall, man, like it is kind of a shame that he never tried to do any more thrillers after that, because he's just like after that he's just like
Munich.
Yeah, that's not really a thriller. No. That's more just
I didn't see it.
I don't even know what to call that, honestly.
It's definitely more of just like a drama.
Yeah, it's like a drama, like kind of like action too. There's quite a bit of like
drama.
Yeah.
It's more like a spy flick, dude.
There's a lot of espionage.
Yeah, it's like a drama
that.
spy flick. Because, definitely a lot of espionage.
Yeah.
Well, so I remember we watched a video essay about Munich and, like, the sound design and how Spielberg uses sound to, like, to show the story, you know? And I thought that really applies itself to Jaws because... if you watch it without the sound and you just watch it with like subtitles, that would be like an awful movie.
It's just water, dude.
It's just water and then a shark every now and then. But no,
that's the real tagline of Jaws. It's just the water.
Yeah, but not just the sound, the music, but the other, just general sounds that they make. But it really applies itself to the movie.
To anyone interested in that video, it's called "See with Your Ears: Spielberg and Sound Design" by Nerdwriter1 on YouTube. It's about 8.5 minutes long. It is it's a great video essay about sound design and how Spielberg uses it.
Because
really like the iconic scene with the ticking bomb. Like that
the
big
phone bomb.
Yeah, and it's a one shot too, isn't it? Like it goes on for.
I'm not sure if it's a one shot, but it feels like it.
I think it is a one shot.
It probably is.
Yeah, I think it is one. You still haven't seen it, right, Bentley?
No.
Oh man, we should watch it.
Yeah. They show like a 3-4 minute scene with the sound, or they hear the scene first.
Yeah,
they hear the scene first,
because you hear them turn it on, like or whatever. You see them turn on the bomb, right, or like set it or whatever, and then and then you hear the ticking for. I don't know, 3 minutes, I guess, or whatever.
But you see in the video, you see it, or you hear the audio for the scene first, and then you see the scene with the audio as well, and like it plays out exactly how it sounds. Like the sound makes the scene.
It's great. It is one of the better uses of sound design that I can think of.
It certainly reminds me of, I know Alfred Hitchcock used to talk about like suspense, and if you have a scene where, let's say, like a normal family is at a table eating dinner, it's like whatever. I'm totally like paraphrasing this, but then if you add like the idea that there might be a bomb under the table or something, and then there's like ticking sound. Like you can add like suspense.
Oh, like you've completely changed what that scene is, right?
Like,
okay.
Like entirely. Like now there's suspense and there's like tension, like to where before without that like ticking sound.
Yeah.
Or there's like that idea.
Yeah. So I don't know if this falls under sound design, but one of my favorite examples, and I guess like a more modern one too, is there's this episode of Castle Rock for anyone who's ever seen it. I forgot. Did you watch the first season with me?
No, I've never seen Castle Rock.
You never saw it?
No,
Okay.
I don't even know it's
I know it's a production company.
Yeah, that.
Oh, my bad. No. Castle Rock is it was a Hulu series where it's like an anthology series. Like technically every season is different and not connected, but it's basically like it's set in the Stephen King universe.
Right. Yeah. I've never watched it. I watched a couple episodes.
Okay. Yeah. See, that's what I thought. Like I don't know if you watched it with me or not.
I think I was thinking like Castle.
Oh no!
I was like, I had no idea what that show's about. But
no, Castle Rock. There's a really great scene, and I kind of think about this quite a bit, honestly. So whatever, Bill Skarsgård, right? His character is basically like possessed by a demon, or he has like this demon who constantly follows him. You see him go into this house, and you hear like this family having dinner, and they're just laughing, talking, having a good time, and you hear like a child even like laughing, and you can hear a child clearly like in the scene, but you don't see the family once, right? But as you follow him in, you see that he walks like right outside of the dining room, and he's just staring at him. Oh, but as he gets closer, you can hear the family going from like laughing and having a great dinner to them start kind of like getting confrontational, to then yelling, and then you hear the kids screaming, and then you hear like the mom and the dad completely lose it. Like you hear like plates shattering, you hear like threats being made, and then I don't remember if you exactly hear like a scream, like someone actually just got like stabbed or whatever, but you hear something along those lines, and then it kind of cuts to I don't think it cuts to black, but the next scene it's like the police investigating the house, and they're like, what happened? And it was like, oh, it was a double murder suicide. Like, and you don't see a single second of it, but you hear every single second of it. And it's such a good scene. It's definitely one of my favorite scenes in more recent television. But yeah, I think that's just like a great way of like showing a story. And I mean, like showing a story through sound instead of like your typical visual. I just thought it was well executed. Oh yeah, for sure. Right? Yeah, you don't have to, no makeup, no blood effects, no nothing. It would be a great way to save money. Which I mean, sometimes movies like really find a funny way to save money. But yeah, it's just a great scene again, like how to use sound to tell a story instead of the traditional visuals. But okay, guys. Final thoughts on Jaws. What would you rate it?
Should we rate movies at the end? Are we all raters? Are we all like?
I mean, I think we naturally rate movies anyways, right? Like.
Oh yeah, maybe.
I mean, every movie I see, I'd be like, oh, that's like a 6 point whatever or 7 point whatever.
Are hard to rate. Them.
Oh
like,
sure, yeah.
Like a Showgirls. Or something, which I love Showgirls.
That was great in its own right.
And I enjoy it, but like I wouldn't know how to rate it.
No, yeah.
Like I'd give it like maybe a 2 or a 9.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, like
somewhere.
So okay, yeah. You can have different ratings, right? Like you can be like, this is how much I enjoyed the movie versus this is how much it actually is a good movie or whatever, right? Like your enjoyment of Showgirls might have been a 9, but once you start thinking about storytelling and cinematography and acting and lighting and whatever, you might be like, yeah, it was really like a 3.7 or something, but you enjoyed it like it was a 9 or whatever. But yeah, I mean, there's different ways to look at movies, right? Like I try to just typically rate movies on how much I enjoyed it versus like how good it was, I guess.
Jaws for sure like deserves its classic status because
For
of how
sure.
unique it is, and there's really no other movie quite like it in
Yeah.
terms of like you have these small groups of guys like isolated, like out at sea, trying to like kill this like unkillable thing.
Yeah, one of the greatest stories of man versus beast, for
Like,
sure,
yeah,
right?
It makes me think of like Alien, where they're like she's stuck in a ship with an alien by herself, and like there's really it's just her and the alien.
Yeah, I mean, being
Just
out
perfect
in
suspense.
being out like stranded in the ocean is, I think, like in the top 5 like irrational fears or whatever, right? Because you have no idea if you're gonna survive. I mean, it's like the same of being stranded in space, right? You know, it's just there's almost no chance of surviving it or whatever. Jaws, I think, will always be up there because it's just so iconic, you know, with some of the shots, and then, you know, when something's parodied so much, not just because, like, if it's parodied, it's good, but I think a lot of people do parody it because it's so good. If it's, you know, if it's that traditional scream, if it's the use of the dun, you know, that classic cello dun. Yeah, dude, it's just, I think it's great. I think it's a great horror movie. I mean, the term summer blockbuster literally comes from this movie, and that's not nothing, you know? And then the effect that it had on the real world, that I think, what was it, like beach visitation was at an all-time low because people were so scared of getting in the water.
I can see it.
Yeah.
People are develop like irrational fears of sharks.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, fears of sharks really, and open water really kind of skyrocketed after that. And again, it's, you know, because they really over-exaggerated on how sharks actually operate in the real world. Also, if anyone ever goes to Universal Studios and does like the tour thing, Jaws is a part of it, and it's actually a lot. I love the tour tram. It's one of my favorite things at Universal Studios.
Like it goes up and it.
I
like,
love that single part.
attacks
So the
you,
part
right?
that you basically see is like your tram goes whatever. It's like on the side of like, you can see like the whatever, the seaside town or whatever, and then there's like a guy just kind of like on a little fishing boat, and then so you see him, and then you cross this thing where like it blocks out all your view, and next thing you know, he's not in the fishing boat anymore. Like his boat is still
Big
there,
memory of this.
but like his hat, I think, is like floating in the water or whatever. And you're like, oh, what the hell just happened? And then whatever, the tram goes and it gets stuck at one point, and it takes like a dip, so you're like right next to the water, and then Jaws like just kind of comes up like beside you. It's so sick. Like, I mean, I was visiting fucking that tour since I was like 5 years old. And I did the tour tram every time, even though they didn't change it. I just loved watching every single part of it, like, so much.
Is that the one where the mummy one? And then
Yeah.
the Spare Beetles, like,
Yeah,
are,
they just shoot
covering the
shoot
thing?
compressed air, and
Yeah.
that imitated.
That's
It really did feel like fucking beetles crawling up your leg,
Creepy
man. That
out,
shit was
dude.
freaky. Yeah, dude, you saw like you see a scene from I think like Backdraft. You do like a scene from King Kong. You pass by a scene where it's
Probably depends at the time too. Like
I don't remember what movie it is. I think it's like it's one of the disaster movies. I think it's like one of the original like earthquake movies, but you're like what looks like a New
Waterworld?
York. Nah, it's like you do like a New York subway station, and you just see this like this water just like flooding the entire station in like a few minutes. It's super cool.
Day After Tomorrow.
No, it was before that. I don't remember. It's one of the original disaster movies. I don't remember what it is, but
When I did that tour, I remember that I think they were filming, or they just finished filming How the Grinch Stole Christmas. So you got to see like that like Whoville set. Remember that at all?
Yeah. I do actually.
Okay.
Yeah, they kept the Whoville set. Yeah, as time went on, they did add more pieces to it. Because actually, now you just reminded me that one of the points is so War of the Worlds, when you see like the planes crash or whatever, like the tram takes you through the aftermath of the plane crash. So you see, it looks like a real plane, like it looks like a real plane that crashed, and it might have been, right. It's just like whatever, they either took like scraps or whatever, but you see like seats everywhere. You see like kids' toys and clothes like all spread out through the thing. They added more like as time went on. There was like a short like Jurassic Park section. There was like a short like Too Fast, Too Furious section where they show like the cars just kind of like spin out of control, or one of the Fast and Furious movies. I don't remember exactly which one. But it's super sick. Like, if you're a big film nerd, it's definitely something everyone should go see for sure.
Go check out Jaws, guys.
Yeah.
Don't they have like the prop of Jaws like hanging out somewhere? Like,
Yeah, you can
take
take a picture with it. Yeah, I think I definitely took that picture before, but I have no idea where it's at. But yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're a big film nerd, Universal Studios is super cool to visit.
Yeah, go do the Jaws thing. Don't go on the ET ride because fuck that ride. Right? My name's Bentley, and they don't have my name loaded in the fucking system.
Look
fuck
at
that
you.
ride.
How do you think I felt every time I visited the gift store as a kid, and I couldn't find my name on a keychain or a fridge magnet or whatever because it was classic names like Robert or whatever, you know. But I wasn't gonna find an Emilio in there.
Nah?
No. You know what's funny? The last time I went back, I tried to find one, and they definitely had way more Hispanic names in there. Still couldn't find mine.
Names.
Yeah.
Maybe like other Emilios took it already.
Maybe
if Night at the Roxbury was a bigger movie.
Hey, everyone knows me because of that movie. All right, like the amount of times that movie has been referenced to me by a person that I just met. Like, if I took a shot,
I've seen that movie.
a lot of people have seen that movie. Maybe not when it came out, but definitely later for sure. But yeah, the amount of people, and people always question me if I've seen it before, because I mean, I was born in '95 and the movie came out whatever, like 90,
probably 98, 99.
Yeah, like 98, 99.
Definitely October 8th, 1992.
So people were like, have you even seen that movie? And it's like, no, I've never seen the fucking movie that made my name famous that everyone fucking quotes at me every time I meet somebody. No, but it's funny because people always think like they're the first to say it to me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm immediately shut that idea down. No, you're not.
There's no other film Emilios? No other big Emilios?
Not famous, no. Not that famous.
And no Bentleys, honestly, that I can think of.
Well, you have a car, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's probably as famous as you're going to get, honestly.
Or a lot of dogs, from what I hear, a lot of dogs named Bentley.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that.
There's another dog named Bentley out there.
Yeah. But, alright, in conclusion, Jaws. Great movie, great horror, thriller, whatever you want to classify it under. Wonderful story of man versus beast. As of now, and man versus self in some way. I don't know, man. I really enjoyed it. I think right now, though, I'd probably give it like 7.5. I think, honestly, somewhere along those lines. But then again, who knows? Like, in a week, I might change my mind about it. But as of now, enjoy it. Great movie. Always worth at least watching once. Especially if you're like one of those people that just love horror movies for whatever reason and you haven't seen Jaws. I mean, fix that, honestly. Just go give it a try. But yeah, I'd give it about 7.5.
I'd give it a 7.
Okay. I think that's more than fair, honestly.
It made me think a little bit of The Lighthouse for some reason.
So I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen that one?
I gotta watch that, but I haven't seen it yet.
They're like stuck inside of a lighthouse for like a long time.
Right, yeah, they start going
like,
crazy, right? Like,
right,
that's the whole story, yeah.
But I was like, that's more of I feel like that's almost like symbolism. Now I'm talking about the lighthouse, but I feel like that's more like symbolism of like when you're actually out in a boat in the middle of the ocean. Like that, it seems like that's actually what the movie was like trying to like do, is like, but it was, they were in a lighthouse, but like the idea was they were like stuck.
They're isolated.
They're they're truly
like,
isolated.
Almost like they would have been like in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see the shore at all from where they're at when they actually start fighting the shark.
Yeah, and you do have to drink when you're out at sea like that. In this movie, they like order like a case of brandy.
Bro, I've only been fishing like twice in my life, and I was drinking both times. I mean, I can't really see myself doing that sober, to be honest.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Case of beers and some like cold Chef Boyardee right out of the can.
Oh my god. Well, I can't do that part. I tried that. I don't get it, but you know. Yeah, dude, just give me a cold brewskis and a lime and throw some Alan Jackson on, and I'm having a good time, honestly.
Yeah, go see Jaws if you're into that sort of thing. It's a little dry, a little slow.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a zoomer.
I do think it would be a lot harder for the more current generations to watch because they're so used to more in-your-face scary movies, not so much suspense-building ones. So it could be a little rough for the younger generation. But if you truly appreciate a good thriller and something that can really build suspense, I mean, you have to watch one of the first to do it. You know?
Movie language in it is immaculate. Immaculate. Go see Jaws.
Or as they say in Boston, Jaws, whatever. But yeah,
that'd be if it jars. Like
Jaws.
I need to open this jar.
This jar peanut butter.
Yeah, I was hearing you say jars in a Boston accent.
It does sound like that, though. Jaws. Yeah, it sounds like Jaws. Jars. Jaws. Yeah, go watch it. Definitely I think it's worth it, honestly. And if you don't like it, then you fucking don't like it. I don't know what else to say about it, I guess.
It's not one of those movies you have to like.
I don't think you have to like it.
You don't have to like Steven Spielberg.
Yeah. First of all, yes, no, just kidding. Yeah, go watch it. It's worth it, especially if you're a movie nerd or if you're specifically a horror movie nerd. You should watch it or give it a try at least.
Or if you like sharks.
Yeah.
Or hate sharks. No, if you hate sharks.
Yeah, or if you...
that's everybody.
Well, spoiler alert. No, just kidding. This is not a spoiler-free podcast. We should probably throw that in the beginning. We'll throw that in the beginning of the next episode.
This thing is not going to air, bro.
I'll just say they get
I think
Jaws.
It will eventually.
They get Jaws at the end.
Yeah.
Right? He doesn't win. He doesn't kill everybody.
They actually turn Jaws into an ally at the end. That's what people really didn't see coming, you know.
And that could have been how the Jaws movie ends. Is that like Jaws actually wins, and then nobody can ever go back to the beach anymore. He just like owns the beach.
Yeah. And then Jaws
locals only.
And then Jaws starves to death because there's no more humans in the water. But yeah, all right, guys, that is our whatever review or discussion, whatever you want to call this, about Jaws. I've been Emilio,
RJ,
Bentley,
and Bentley. All right. Have a good night, y'all.